Lori, Elaine. How is everybody? Let me just turn off a couple things here to make sure that we're up and going. All right, looks like we're on. Hey, Pat, if everybody would please go ahead and share. Thank you so much for being here today. Good morning, good morning. Elaine from LA. Leo, good to see you. Nanette, let me go ahead and share. We're at a different angle today, so hopefully this is going to work. If you will, share out to everybody on Twitter and invite your followers and share anywhere else that you'd like to share as well. No sound. Is anybody else getting sound? Okay, there we go. Did you fix it? Yes, we did. We fixed the smoke detector, so it's fine. Hey, Linda Smith, good morning. Good morning, Gillian. What a lot of people don't understand in California is when you go down, when one smoke detector is off, doesn't mean anything. In California, you have to have a smoke detector in every room. There's also smoke detectors in the hallways, and there's even carbon monoxide detectors. So one being out was not a big deal. I know it was a big deal to some that were commenting. Whoops, that's Gracie. We're commenting, hey Emily, but it really has no effect, and everything is back up there. Hello, patriots who love our God. Hey, Elaine, thank you. All right, I'm going to read to you very quickly here Psalm 118, and then we're going to get started with breaking news. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Let Israel now say, his mercy endures forever. Let the house of Aaron now say, his mercy endures forever. Let those who fear the Lord now say, his mercy endures forever. I called on the Lord in distress. The Lord answered me and set me in a broad place. The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do to me? The Lord is for me among those who help me. Therefore I shall see my desire on those who hate me. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. Amen. Amen. Hey, Karen. Hey, Lori. Gracie had a comment. Yes, Gracie always has a comment. Good morning, Susan. Pastor Hibbs' sermon Sunday was amazing. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, Luann, for watching it. No notification of your broadcast. Yeah, just set your clock, because that happens, and it's not going to get any better. I'm sure it's going to get worse. Hey, Heidi. Hey, Alan. Good to see you. Karen, good to see you over there on YouTube. All right, so some breaking news. As you know, today, God's Views on Political News is going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern. I watched Pastor Hibbs' sermon too. It was wonderful, Robin said. It looks like Bill is not going to be able to be there today because he and his family are, I don't know if he's sick, but other people are sick in his family. Elaine always gets notifications on Periscope. That's good. Hey, Lee. So I hope that you will come and support me today as I do the show. Also, I am going to have the show. It will be on Periscope just like it is right now. So if you want to watch the show from Periscope, you can. You can also watch it on YouTube, Facebook, and D Live. So whichever one that you want to do. Prayers for Bill's family. I'll be here. Thank you, Robin. Hey, Marlene. Hello, Susan. Good morning, beautiful lady. I hope you are doing good. You look like you are. Thank you, Candace. I hope you're doing well as well. Thank you for the nice compliment. Let's see. So also, in other breaking news, this is so good. Hey, Daniel. There's going to be no foreign minister from Israel, hey Clara, who's going to be coming to the UN to bash the United States. President Trump has said, no, you can stay out. We don't want you here in the United States talking down about anybody here in the United States. So you can stay back in Iran and do what you got to do there. So thank you, Mr. President, for not allowing this foreign minister to come in and speak horribly about the United States. I know that former President Obama would have welcomed him with open arms, I'm pretty sure, but our president said no. And thank you. Hey, Ruthie, good to see you. Now, also, the U.S. trade deficit fell in November to the lowest level in more than 3 years from Iran, Elaine. Fell the lowest level in more than 3 years as U.S. exports rose while imports declined, putting the country on track to see the first annual decline in the trade deficit in 6 years. The Commerce Department said Tuesday that the gap between what Americans sell and what it buys abroad narrowed by 8.2%. Normally, we would pay them a bonus to talk smack about U.S. Exactly. Hey, Liz, and be bent over bowing down to them at the same time, Rhonda. Don't forget the bow. That's always, always was present under Obama. I'd love to see President Trump drop kick the UN out of the U.S. too. Oh, I would too. I would love to see that. I would love it. I thought Pompeo said this morning that he would be allowed because of the UN rules. No, what he said was that they were going to follow the rules. But that's all he said. And so the president has said he's not coming in. So we'll see what happens. The Commerce Department said Tuesday that the gap between what America sells and what it buys abroad narrowed by 8.2% in November to $43.1 billion, the smallest deficit since October 2016. 2016. Let's see what happened then. Okay. Though the first 11 months of 2019, the trade deficit is 0.7% smaller than in the same period in 2018. If that trend holds in December, the country will finish 2019 with a deficit slightly below last year's $627.7 billion in balance, which had been a 14.1% jump over 2017. So good news, nothing that you're going to hear in the mainstream media, of course. Linda said, love Pompeo this morning. Yep. Pompeo really knows how to, hey, Oregon Patriot, he knows how to talk to the press. He really does know how to talk to the press. Hey, Renee, thanks for inviting people. Hey, Dawn, good morning. He also said, Pompeo also said that he is not going to run for senator of Kansas. That was something that was speculated. Don't even know if he was really asked by McConnell and President Trump to do that, but that was something that they were talking about. He has put that to rest and saying, no, he's going to finish out his time for as long as the president wants him here, unlike others who, get dismissed and then they come back and try to sue or whatever. Yeah, he's not a pushover, Ruthie, but he's gonna finish out in the position that he's in. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Oregon Patriot. Now, this will be no surprise. Iran approves a bill labeling the U.S. military and the Pentagon as terrorist organizations, as we should list the Iranian government as that. So now the media will say Pompeo and Trump aren't on the same page. Probably. Pompeo should run for president in 2024, Elaine said. Hey, Grateful Mike. Well, a lot of people want Donald Trump Jr. to run for president in 2024. It's you don't hear so much when people are saying, I really want Mike Pompeo. I mean, not Mike Pompeo, but the vice president, Mike Pence, to run for president. So I don't know. I like Mike Pence, but I don't know how much he will be like a President Trump or have the same grit and the backbone. I don't know. So I think he's a good vice president. I just don't know about him as president, but hopefully we have some time to determine that. Harley Guy said, I don't think Pence would want to run for president. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think he likes the position that he's in. Iran has made a country of terrorism for decades. Pence doesn't have the appeal, Elaine said. Yeah, I just don't think that he does, unfortunately. I mean, he's a great guy. Seems to be very good in the position that he's in. Like to know their criteria for terrorism. Linda, anybody that speaks the truth against what Iran is doing, those are terrorists, according to Iran. So, and remember, as we've talked about before, it's the Iranian government we're talking about and not the Iranian people who don't like their government. All right. Now, also, a lot of people were talking about the funeral, whatever you will, for Soleimani. People looked at that and said, oh my gosh, look how many people are there. I thought that they didn't like their government. Well, they don't like their government. And it was one of those things where you will attend or you won't be living the next day. You can figure out how that would happen. And so people did come there. And apparently over 30 mourners were killed in a stampede during that funeral. So let's hope that innocent lives, that those people that had to be there, hope none of those people were the ones killed. But life in Iran is not good, and those people want to go back to a time when it was more, civilized. Who took 52 U.S. hostages? Iran did. Yeah, exactly. Also, there has been a second earthquake in Puerto Rico. The first earthquake came in a 5.9. This one came in this morning at 6.4. It's how totalitarianism works. Yeah, they have to show up. Exactly. Yeah, Trump and Pence. I don't know if Pence was he a Democrat. I know Trump was. People need to Google how Iran was before 1979. Yeah, Elaine, it was a quite different place. It was a lot like, in certain ways that people had the freedoms like in the United States, similar to what we have today. We've lost some of our freedoms here. But they had a pretty good life. Hey, John Mott, how are you? So they would like to return to that. A lot of people left Iran because of what happened and the takeover there in the 70s, and because they saw what was coming and they were smart to get out. If you saw any of the pictures of, the women, they wear the burqas, little eyes showing through there. That's about what most of the people do there. Western customs before the Ayatollah. Yep, that's right, Rhonda. Absolutely. So, okay. Let's get in. Let me breathe. I've been preparing for the show today for God's Views because of Bill's absence. So I've kind of got my mind over there. Yeah, thank you, Jimmy Carter. And I'll tell you one thing about Jimmy Carter. He was better after he left office and doing the building the Habitats for Humanity than he ever was as president. I work with Pence's sister-in-law, and she is more of a leader. Clara said. Yeah, take a breather. I know, Harley Guy. I need to just because there's so much that I want to talk to you about today in God's Views. Some of it we have talked briefly about, but we need to talk more about it. I think people I want them to understand what Iran is all about, what Iraq is all about. Carter was a depressing president. God will lead you. Thank you, Rhonda. Carter, I don't know if any of you remember, but during Carter, we had to keep the thermostats at a certain level. Weren't allowed to change the thermostats. I don't know where you live, but in the state that I was at, and I think it was all across the United States, you had to buy gas on either odd days or even days, depending upon your license plate number. But Carter always seemed to be sewn on Israel, though. That's what I always had trouble with him, Dawn said. You remember the gas lines, Nuala? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Carter to me was just somebody the South wanted to put in as a good old boy and his brother Billy, and it was a horrible mistake. Under Carter, there were 18% home meeting rates. Not sure, Mimosota, what is that about? Maybe I'm reading it wrong just because I'm not getting your gist. But it was a horrible time under Carter. Oh, mortgage rates. Thank you. Billy Beer, yeah. It was horrible. It was a horrible time. There's nothing good about it. He was down on Israel, Dawn said, yeah. And again, it was the South wanting a good old boy from the South. I really honestly believe that's what it was. And also there were rumors on that day of voting that some people were going into voting booths in the South and would try to pull the lever. That's when they had levers at that time. Would try to pull the lever for Ford, and it would only go for Jimmy Carter. So to say that vote was rigged and that whole thing was rigged probably was. So, it just, what can you say? Carter complicated life, and you could only buy $5 of gas on your day. That's right. You couldn't top off on your day. You could only buy a certain amount of gas on that day. Until President Obama came along, I thought Jimmy Carter was the worst president we ever had. They're a close tie. They really are. And he botched that whole, trying to get the hostages freed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he was just a weak individual that should never have been president. Like I said, he did better for the country when he was a Habitat for Humanity and when he was doing those things. And he probably should have just stayed there. Obama was worse. Obama, let's put it this way. Obama did more damage. Yeah, he was in over his head. Wasn't that the ozone era too? Yes, Clara. You were encouraged not to use hairspray. You were encouraged not to do anything with the ozone. That was before climate change craziness, but it had its craziness of its own, and that was worrying about the ozone layer, which, from what I understand, has healed itself, because God does those type of things. When God's in control, you don't have to worry about it. Obama and Carter are two of a kind. They are two peas in a pod. Dawn said, I was a freshman in high school and had an English teacher that loved him. Even as a freshman in high school, I questioned the English teacher's judgment. Yeah, good thinking, Dawn. Crazy is nothing new. No, it isn't, Synagogue of States. It really isn't. Good morning, Brian. How are you? And as we've been talking about, things are going to get much crazier. In the 80s, nobody gave up their hairspray, Heidi said. We used plenty of Aquanet in the 80s. I can't live without hairspray, Elaine said. I remember some people went to the pump hairspray because they didn't want the ozone to be affected by it. Was how the can used the spray, the pressure and all that went into the can and have hairspray. I surely don't remember when Carter was president. I know what I was told. Well, Raman, you're one of the lucky ones that you didn't have to live through that. But it was just a time that people just wanted to forget. I mean, that's all I can say. It was kind of like, oh, geez, we've made a big mistake. How do we get out of it? And his brother Billy was even more an embarrassment than anybody else. And he was always just doing stupid stuff, drinking a lot, just getting into trouble, doing stupid stuff. Have you seen Cully? Yes, Elaine. He's on another platform. You don't speak English. Well, we don't speak any other language than English in here. They changed from the AC. Yes, the AC. Carter's a good man, but a terrible president. Yep, Lori seemed to be an okay guy. Doesn't like our president, which I'm not really happy about. But as far as giving and helping the poor, he's done a great job. Dawn said he's always putting down Israel, but real quick to run to Israel for his cancer treatment that apparently has kept him alive, Dawn said. Yep, I reckon shooting rockets into space had nothing to do with the ozone. That's right, Rick. Billy Carter was like Hunter. Clara, yes, but just an even worse, probably. But I don't think he did cocaine or anything like that. But he just got himself, he was just an embarrassment in front of the world. Carter wasn't a bad person, just a horrible president, John Mott said. Yeah. He, like I said, he did good, he's done really good for poor people and people who need his help and the houses that he's built and all that. Those are great things. But as a president, he sucked. Interest rates at 20% in the Carter days. It was horrible. It's what you can expect from somebody like who is a total Democrat. I mean, he could be running California. And as I talked about yesterday, according to Pastor Jack Hibbs, Gavin Newsom is not allowing the registrar of voters to verify the signatures on his recall. I mean, craziness. And also California, they're trying to get rid of Proposition 13 to make our taxes just skyrocket here in California. We're giving everything to the illegals here in California. Hey, Carol, good morning. So, I mean, that's what happens when you get a Democrat. And I was listening to something this morning that was hard. It was really hard for me to understand. I didn't hear what this person said specifically, so I'll take it with a grain of salt. But this was a conversation about Ann Coulter. And Ann Coulter came out, they're leaving New York in record numbers, and California too. She came out and said that she's so disappointed in President Trump. She thought he was going to be different. She thought he was going to do something about the immigration, and he hasn't. And she's so disappointed in that. Well, and he has done some things about immigration. He's done things that he can do. He is building a wall. So I don't know where you've been, but I don't know that necessarily that Ann is as much as a conservative as she claims or wants us to believe that she is. But anyway, she said that if Bernie Sanders would do something about the immigration system and would go back to how he originally talked about immigration, that she would vote for Bernie Sanders, that she would work for Bernie Sanders. So, I mean, I know Anne's been losing it, or it appears that she has been, but maybe we're just seeing who Anne truly is. You invite me to Turkey? Well, thank you, but I won't be going there. Cully said, I did buy a 6-pack of Billy beer. Yeah, I guess some people did. Hey, Angie from Florida. Ann Coulter just likes to hear her own voice, Luann said. Yeah, Coulter is a nut, Elaine said. So Anne is bartering for a job. I don't know what she's doing. Harley Guy said he's very disappointed in Coulter. I'm very disappointed with her too. And she does kind of just shift with the wind. From one day it was like she was the first to come out and say President Trump was going to win, he was going to be president. And then now she's over to Bernie Sanders. Really, Anne? Why? What is wrong with you? A lot of the union people need to realize much of their pensions disappeared in politicians' pockets, as they always do. In California especially, who knows if there's going to be a pension in California for people, because they put money in their pockets all the time. That's what's happening with the homeless situation. They've taken money over here and they placed it over here, money that was earmarked for homeless or someplace else. I mean, it's crazy. And she is strange for sure, Carol said. Yeah. Anne is a habitual complainer, very disappointed in her, Dawn said. Yeah, it's really sad to see what's come out of it. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the, other news. Mark Meadows came out this morning and said, I think the vast majority agree killing 600 plus Americans is well beyond justification to say enough is enough. And yet here we are, where Democrats are falling all over themselves, equivocating about a terrorist and writing a resolution to prevent POTUS from responding. We touched briefly on this yesterday. Trump's not perfect, but take the lesser of two evils when voting. Well, I don't think it's the lesser of two evils. I think Trump is, yes, he's not perfect because he's a man, but Trump's policies, Trump's ideology, everything that his political policies are, I'm in favor of. He is the most pro-birth president that we've ever had. The most anti-abortion president that we've ever had. The most pro-life that we've ever had. Go on and on and on. The unemployment that has dropped significantly in blacks, Hispanics, women, you name it. Everything that he has done is contrary to what a socialist would do. Hey, Pamela, if you want to know hell on earth, just be under Bernie Sanders as a socialist in a socialist society here in California and in the United States. If you think it's bad now, if you think AOC is crazy, she would be right in there helping him. The only reason she's not running for vice president with him is because she can't. She's too young, thank God. And I hope the people of New York get her out of office this time when they can vote, get her out. I know that's going to be difficult, but you've got to do that. Same with Megyn Kelly. Yes, Luann, exactly. Trump evolved on issues like abortion. The left thinks freedom is free stuff. Well, and frankly, Clara, isn't that what we've taught and our children have been taught in public schools and are still being taught in that? Yeah, who wants to live in Russia? And just know that Bernie Sanders, if ever elected president, he's not going to be living the lifestyle that he wants you to live. He's got, several homes, $600,000 home, I think he was given when he dropped out and tried to let Hillary win. So don't think that his life is going to be any different. It's going to be your life that's severely changed. And AOC as well, because she's making, $174,000 a year. I don't see her sharing that with you or me. I think we should go and demand that we get some of her money, because that's what socialism is all about. You just take other people's money and things that they've earned that you didn't earn, but you feel you're entitled to. So that's what happens. And that's the type of country that we would have if you had Bernie Sanders in as president. So as we talked about yesterday, all those people who are sitting there saying, I can't vote for Donald Trump, he's immoral. Show me a man, woman, child who isn't immoral. Everyone is. It's called being a sinner, okay? So if you can say, well, I can vote for Bernie Sanders, but I can't vote for Trump, okay, well, how is that, based upon biblical principles. I see a president who is trying to base what he's doing on biblical principles. And so far, that's how it's come out to be. You were being nice to troll. I got rid of him, Elaine. He had to go. So, now also, you see the Democrats. They're all worried. It's obvious that they're all worried. There's something that we don't know more of, that we need to know about Iran. It reminds me, and I talked about this yesterday, it reminds me of Ukraine. It's too much trying to protect Iran. Now, I know that Iran is the legacy of Obama, and maybe that's what they're trying to protect. The Iran nuclear agreement of 2015. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. I think it's far worse than that. Good morning, Jeremy Hansen. How are you? I think it's far worse than that. I really do. I think there's so much more to it that we need to know. We need to look into it, just like we needed to look into the corruption in Ukraine. You've got people that have to be connected. Ilhan Omar and Pelosi will introduce, the resolution. They can't let Trump look good either. That's true, Carol. They can't. But, the thing of it is, Iran was really never following the 2015 nuclear agreement. I'm against issues like Trump banning things like vaping. Well, Minnesota, there are other things that happen that I'm not happy with. But if it comes down to, well, do I vote for Trump or not vote for him because he banned vaping flavors? I'm going to overlook that. I'm going to say, you know what? I almost wish he would ban the cigarettes. But I'm also for freedom. So I don't want to ban anything like that. But if you have the people that we live in our society today, parents, for the most part, a lot of them, not all parents, but aren't watching their children, okay? So they're going out and they're vaping and they're getting all of these different flavors, and that's what gets them hooked, and that's what brings them into smoking cigarettes, and on and on and on. I think all of it's garbage. I wish nobody would do it, but I'm not happy about the fact that they banned the vaping flavors, but that's not going to cause me not to vote for a president who is pro-life, pro closing down the borders as best as he can, pro getting terrorists out of the United States, pro helping our military and not leaving them behind to die over in Iraq, and on and on and on. I agree with Nikki Haley when she said that Democrats are the ones mourning his death. Exactly. Good. 21 years without cigarettes. Wonderful for you, Carol. That's great. Carrie's son-in-law is from Iran. That's true, Vicky. That's true. And didn't who married Carrie's son-in-law? Does anybody remember who married Carrie's son-in-law from Iran? There's a lot of connections going on. There really are. There's a lot more stuff that we need to look into. But the latest thing, the Democrats are doing is now trying to say that we're detaining Iranians. I had read somewhere that some top Iranian official said he wants to release a list of all the people in our government that got rich on the Iranian deal. Yes, Dawn, that's true. Carrie's daughter married an Iranian national. Yeah. Yeah, deep breath. I know. Yeah, so there's probably more people that we don't know about that are connected. But, I happen to know some Iranian Americans. I don't know about you, but, I did watch yesterday, unfortunately, Pramila Jayapal's news conference. I've never heard more made-up stuff in all my life. I have never heard more. Valerie Jarrett's parents are Iranian. Yes, Clara. And by the way, she's living with Obama and Michelle, and has been ever since he left. Yeah, I know Iran has released a list supposedly of all of President Trump's properties and maybe what they're targeting. Right now, what Iran is doing. One of the things that gives me some comfort is that Amir was saying how weakened Iran is right now because of all of the things that have been going on. The fact that we've sanctioned them so much, the fact that we sanction people who try to work with them producing oil, that they're not allowed to do that anymore. So they don't have the funds that they used to have. Pompeo said the same thing. Yeah, good. And so a lot of this is just talk for their own people in Iran and for others around the world who they don't want them to know what weakened state that they're in. They need the Shah back again. I worked with an Iranian gentleman who fled the Iranian military, had to hide his faith or be killed. Yes, Nuala. Years ago, I had a lady on my show who was from Iran, and she fled Iran, and she was horrified at some of the things that she was seeing here in the United States under Obama, fearful that it was going to go the same way here. Kerry's daughter, the best man, was son of Iran's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Yes. And when I said it a minute ago, who else married somebody from Iran, I was actually trying to think of Valerie Jarrett, and I didn't say it. It didn't come out right. Iran has 80 million bounty on Trump's head. Yeah, that was from Soleimani's daughter. Liberals should be happy that President Trump take out this terrorist, but they were blind by their hate. Why is no one talking about the steel company that shipped specialized steel to Iran for centrifuges? Yeah, why are we no longer talking about uranium-1 and the possibility of any of that being there in Iran? Sometimes when I hear MSM talk, I think Charlie Brown's teacher, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, where did they get money for bounty? You know, and the thing of it is, I saw this yesterday on the Gateway Pundit. I don't know that this is true, so don't take it as true, because I couldn't find it anyplace else. They're saying that Soleimani's daughter is an American citizen. Now, I can't find that anyplace else that says that she's an American citizen. But if she is, her citizenship should be revoked, and she should be out of here. Yeah, thanks, Susan Rice. That's true, Cully. I believe so. So if anybody else finds out if she is an American citizen, I don't know why she would be. I kind of doubt that that's not true, but you know, I can't say for sure one way or the other. Like I said, I did see it on the Gateway Pundit. So we're at the halfway point. I don't know if I mentioned that. If we could go ahead and reshare, that would be great. Okay, let me just get this in here. All right. So, you know, again, the enemy is very, yes, I would like to see some people get their citizenship revoked. Yeah, I would too, Harley Guy. I can think of a squad of people that might be up for that. Okay. So supposedly on last Friday, now this is funny and not funny at the same time, that the website for the United States Selective Service, also known as the Draft, crashed on Friday after the media experts let everybody know that World War III was coming, and all of these young people thought, oh my gosh, we're going to get drafted, and so they went to find out information. Thank you, McAvoy. So again, when was the last time we had a draft? The next question is, God forbid that the people that we're raising up right now, a lot of them, not all of them, that they would go and fight for us. I would be afraid. I was told we had a good relationship with Iran until Carter became president. I don't know that that's true, but I mean, that could be partially true. I don't think he helped. Let's say that. And then certainly Obama didn't help. Yeah, how typical, Gillian said. Yeah. So again, I wouldn't be comfortable if there was a draft with the people that, you know, in their skinny jeans and things like that are going, okay, we're going to go and fight for the country. I would welcome them under supervision doing that, but it would kind of be a little scary. I have to say, it really would be. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but skinny jeans not behind a Harley guy. Is the military going to leave Iraq? some people are saying, this is our opportunity to get out of Iraq. As we were talking about yesterday, the poor relationship is due to religious differences. Will not draft because military needs people who will serve, and can serve well and can actually know what a gun looks like. Charge the Hill reading their phones. Exactly, Gillian. Draft hasn't been enacted since Vietnam. I know, John. But you know what? That just goes to show you how when people get stuff going, when the rumors get started, people just lose their minds. Not all people, thank God. Some people just lose their minds. Like, oh my gosh, we're going to war. World War III. No man buns in the military. Exactly. They'd have to be broken, then built back up. Yes. Just tell the kids it's a video game. Good point, Wayne. Yeah, they would have to, at least Cully's saying, have to get rid of the man buns. We're still in Germany, Japan, and South Korea. Hey, Danny. I'm fine. How are you? They're putting the cart before the horse. Well, again, it's to get people scared. It's to, by getting people scared like that, it's getting Democrats votes, they hope, because then Democrats can say, see, we told you, you have a president who's just wanting to take you to war. You should be with us. And so it's for a reason that they do this. It's for a reason that they create the chaos. Fearmongers. Yes, Rhonda. And they do it every single time, and people seem to fall for it every single time. It's like, relax, read the Bible, you'll know what's happening, keep your eyes on what's going on, but no need to freak out. Hey, Pilot Mike, someone was using your profile on YouTube. Elaine, you sure it wasn't Mike himself? I use Facebook. Yes, Danny, I do. Okay, so my point, getting back to it, will the United States, will the troops be leaving Iraq? I think if they pull out, it's going to be like what happened when Obama left in 2011 and everything just kind of imploded. And also what happened, what we're seeing, as we talked about yesterday, is that Iran is taking over Iraq. I mean, I would say right now it's probably more Iran than it is Iraq. And the prime minister, even as we talked about yesterday, you can't even elect that person unless they go along with Iran. So Iran eventually is going to probably get us out of there. It's up to the prime minister to get us out of there. But if he's controlled by the Iranians, he's going to want us out of there too. I think if they do, things will get worse over there. Well, Harley Guy, of course, what is being said now is, okay, well, if you pull our troops out of Iraq, that means Russia's going to go in there. And again, somehow it's gotten to do with President Trump in love with Russia. If drafted, they would have problems filling out their personal info, especially what sex they are. Yes, we shouldn't allow Russia or China to replace us in the Middle East. Well, Mama Sota, that already happened in Syria with under President Obama, because he got us into Syria, and that's what brought in Iran and Russia into Syria as well. He wanted a regime change, supposedly, with Bashar Assad in Syria, and then he brought everybody who was protecting Assad right on in there to Syria with us there, and that's when Russia told us, you need to go bye-bye, United States, and we kind of left, for the most part. AOC said a strange thing. She said the Dems are not allowed to speak about bad things that are happening in the party. Probably, Gillian, because that would be Nancy Pelosi telling her not to talk about anything happening, any dissension in the Democrat Party. That would be what I think she's referring to. So, who knows? And there was a letter that came out yesterday that supposedly was drafted that said we were going to leave Iraq. So we'll see what happens. The Pentagon was quick to say that letter, it wasn't signed. It was just a draft. Who knows if it was something that they were anticipating having to do? Who knows if it was something that somebody just thought up? Who knows? Who knows if it was real? Now, the president has said, we're not going to leave because we're going to, if we leave there, you're going to have to repay us all the things all the money that we put in and all the time and effort and all that other stuff. That could change. Like yesterday, he was talking about hitting the cultural sites. There is, I think, a 1954 agreement about not hitting cultural sites. Of course, you can hit cultural sites if people are hiding, like terrorists are hiding in those cultural sites, but you can't pinpoint them. Could have been a leak or trap. Yes. And the thing of it is, here's we should know this by now. There's no such thing as an unintentional leak. Those leaks are absolutely planned. If they wanted to keep them quiet and not leaked, that would happen. They're leaking because it's like the whole Comey thing or anybody else. They're leaking because they want that information leaked out. They wanted that information leaked out that we may be leaving Iraq, and they wanted to embarrass the president. That's why it was leaked. Whether that was somebody in the Pentagon, I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me how many people, that we have in the Pentagon who are against this president and pro-Democrat Party and maybe pro-Iran. Who knows? I mean, it would take, if I tried to research everything that needed to be researched on this, hey, Danielle, it would take forever. The guy who leaked it should be terminated immediately. It could be a phony letter. It could, yes, Harley guy. It seemed like the guy who was talking, it's okay, Danielle, was more acting like it was a letter that somebody did draft, but it wasn't signed. They know who did it. They absolutely know who did it, Pamela. They know. And if they don't know, they could easily find out. So, just know that everything that you're seeing, there's an intention behind it. It comes from the Democrat Party. It's who they are. We're going to see more and more of these things happening as we get closer to the election. It's just what it's going to be. And again, some Democrats are like, let's go ahead and leave. This is a great time. Let's get, not Democrats, but Americans in general, let's get out of Iraq. Who cares? Let's quit fighting things in Iraq. Letter was poorly written. Yeah. Probably written by an underling staff member, Okay. Also, this is not surprising, but in Michigan, an Iraqi consulate in Michigan said they would open for condolences for anyone mourning the death of Soleimani. So here we are in America allowing for a consulate in Michigan to open to basically mourn the death of a terrorist. And that's in Michigan. The Consulate General of the Republic of Iraq in Detroit said that it would open for several hours in the afternoon on Tuesday and Wednesday for people offering condolences and sympathy after the deaths of Qasem Soleimani and Muhandis. So this is the United States, and this is what we're seeing in our country. I don't care what religion or faith you are. I don't care why you may or may not have liked them. I don't think the United States should allow that to happen. They need to get out of our country, Robin said. Alan said, what the heck? Yeah. I'm not sure why the people of Detroit are allowing it, though I, do understand. I bet Rashida is associated with it, Daniel said, or she'll be in attendance. But I think it's something that we should start saying, you're not going to do that. It's one thing to be a different culture and to have your own way of thinking about things and blah, 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 blah. But when you're doing things that are against America, it's time to shut it down. Just saying. And when you're so vocal about it like that, and it's sort of sanctioned within your state, I don't know. What more can I say? We all know it's happening. Now, mourn in your own home. Yeah, exactly. Trauma mama. If that's what you want to do that. Or, don't publicize it as what you're doing. And just say, we're having a meeting if all you guys want to come over here today. And then maybe when you get there, talk about it. I don't know. Hey, Barbara. Also, the White House is basically, I guess President Trump was saying that he wanted Hunter Biden and Joe Biden to be called as witnesses. And now it seems like everybody except Mitt Romney, of course, is on the same page about the trial coming up on the impeachment trial. Hope they all get an emotional support llama. Exactly, Alan. Obama runs a shadow government. That's why Jared is still in his house. How do you mourn a killer? Well, Elaine, from what I've seen, sometimes you mourn a killer in that faith by hitting yourself in the head, screaming, jumping up and down. I've seen that, so I guess that would be how that's done physically. How you mourn it with good conscience. They don't think he's a killer. They think that he's a martyr, so he's okay. So anyway, it looks like it's all been taken off the table, not to have any witnesses in the Senate trial, to take what the House is giving the Senate and go from there. It is grotesque, Elaine. It is. They killed 35 people. Well, there was a stampede, Pamela, supposedly. So who knows what's going to happen when they force you to? Many are being made to go out and mourn. Yes. Who knows what Mitch is going to do? How Mitch is going to handle this? How quickly it's going to happen? I don't know what Mitch is waiting for. Why aren't we having a trial right now? Let's get in. Let's get out. Let's move on. And because here's what's happening. If you wait for, for everything to happen, if you're waiting for Nancy to come across and give the articles of impeachment and all that other stuff, you give Adam Schiff time to do what he wants to do. You give Nancy time to concoct things that she wants to do. Yes, fake mourners told they had to attend. Yes, they had to attend. It's either attend or be killed. Now, there's some other things I want to get to really quickly before we do a reading today. Planned Parenthood 2018 to 2019 annual report shows that the organization performed, drumroll, Democrats, listen up, you'll be proud of that. Isn't there a time limit, Susan? Well, there's supposed to be, Elaine, but is anybody following the law anymore and the rules? I mean, look, the Democrats didn't. So in 2018 and 2019 shows that the organization performed 12,915 more abortions during the 2018 fiscal year than the organization did in the previous year. The nation's largest abortion provider performed 345,672 abortions between October 2017 and September 2018, as opposed to the 332,757 that they had performed the abortions in 2017. So all I can say is, my gosh. Democrats are praising a Soleimani, who aren't condemning a Soleimani, let's just say that, and are worried about the president going over and doing the right thing when that same terrorist was trying to kill our military and other targets. But not a peep when it comes to the killing of 325,000 plus babies being aborted right here in the United States. And maybe elsewhere, but probably the United States. Oh, that just, I don't know. That's all I can say right now. It's just disgusting. And this is why we need God, people. This is why we need God. Because the world is upside down. In the way they think, in the way they look at things, in the way they're reacting to things, on and on. God is not pleased, Elaine. No, he's not. Oh, yes, we need God, Daniel said. Okay, we're going to read today the Bible. Hope you stay with me and read the Bible with me. Yeah, I don't know why God puts up with what we do, Pamela. I have no idea. I don't have his patience, so I don't know. I'm going to start in Romans. We're going to go to chapter 1, but I'm going to skip down to verse 16. So Romans chapter 1, verse 16. The just live by faith. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes, for the Jew first and also for the Greek. For in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. And that is so important for us to remember. The just shall live by faith. God's wrath on unrighteousness, verse 18. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. Does that sound familiar? Because what may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it to them. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Because although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Professing to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like corruptible man, and birds, and four-footed animals, and creeping things. Therefore God also gave them up to uncleanness in the lusts of their hearts, to dishonor their bodies among themselves, who exchanged the truth of God for the lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. This sounds so familiar from what the times that we're living in now. For this reason God gave them up to vile passions, for even their women exchanged the natural use for what is against nature. Likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust for one another, men with men, committing what is shameful, and receiving in themselves the penalty of their error which was due. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a debased mind to do these things which are not fitting, being filled with all unrighteousness, sexual immorality, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, evil-mindedness. They are whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, violent, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, undiscerning, untrustworthy, unloving, unforgiving, unmerciful, who, knowing the righteous judgment of God, that those who practice such things are deserving of death, not only do the same, but also approve of those who practice them. Chapter 2, God's righteous judgment. Therefore you are inexcusable, O man, whoever you are who judge, for in whatever you judge another you condemn yourself, for you who judge practice the same things. But we know that the judgment of God is according to truth against those who practice such things. And do you think this, O man, you who judge those practicing such things and doing the same, that you will escape the judgment of God? Or do you despise the riches of his goodness, forbearance, and long-suffering, not knowing that the goodness of God leads you to repentance? But in accordance with your hardness and your impenitent heart, you are treasuring up for yourself wrath in the day of wrath, and revelation of the righteous judgment of God, who will render to each one according to his deeds. Eternal life to those who by patient continuance in doing good seek for glory, honor, and immortality. But to those who are self-seeking, and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation and wrath, tribulation and anguish on every soul of man who does evil, of the Jew first and also of the Greek. But glory, honor, and peace to everyone who works what is good, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. For there is no partiality with God. For as many as have sinned without law will also perish without law, and as many as have sinned in the law will be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just in the sight of God, but the doers of the law will be justified. For when Gentiles, who do not have the law by nature, do the things in the law, these, although not having the law, are a law to themselves, who show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and between themselves their thoughts accusing or else excusing them, in the day when God will judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ, according to my gospel. The Jews guilty as the Gentiles. Verse 17. Indeed, you are called a Jew, and rest on the law, and make your boast in God, and know his will, and approve the things that are excellent, being instructed out of the law, and are confident that you yourself are a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, having the form of knowledge and truth in the law. You therefore who teach another, do you not teach yourself? You who preach that a man should not steal, do you steal? You who say, do not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You who abhor idols, do you rob temples? You who make your boast in the law, do you dishonor God through breaking the law? For the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you, as it is written. Circumcision of no avail. Verse 25. For circumcision is indeed profitable if you keep the law, but if you are a breaker of the law, your circumcision has become uncircumcision. Therefore, if an uncircumcised man keeps the righteous requirements of the law, will not his uncircumcision be counted as circumcision? And will not the physical uncircumcised, if he fulfills the law, judge you, who even with your written code and circumcision are a transgressor of the law? For he is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is circumcision that which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew who is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart in the spirit, not in the letter, whose praise is not from men, but from God. Amen, amen. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I notice when we talk about God, people run, hoping those people will listen again and come back. What chapter and verse was that? That was Romans chapter 2, verse 25. Yeah, I know, Hurley Guy. I know. Only the fearful, I think, run. So hopefully those people will come back and know there's nothing to fear. But I read to you today Romans chapter 1 and chapter 2. We'll pick up on Thursday, probably where we left off. Again, God's views on political news will be in an hour. Bill, unfortunately, will not be there. I hope that you will come and support me. Also, you will be able to see it on Periscope. I'm not going to be showing anything, so I'm going to have Periscope up just like I do right now. So if you want to watch it on Periscope, that you'll be able to do that. And just want to, say thank you for being here today. God bless you an hour. Thank you, Robin. I know I can always depend on Robin, and I really appreciate your support and others that are coming too. And I just pray for those who are watching this replay. You're welcome, Avis. That you will see that God's word is so important for us to focus on, and that the public display of reading God's word, I feel, is extremely important in the times that we are in. And I intend to continue to do that and read that as long as I possibly can, and as long as God allows me to do it. So for everyone, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in an hour for God's views on political news. And until then, take care. God bless. There it goes again. Every time. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.